celebration with us. Everybody do it, let's go. We're gonna turn the world upside down. We're gonna turn these people right side up. We're gonna shout until we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on! Something.
Over 40 years ago, Kim and I embarked on a ministry journey that has now become a global network through the power of the internet. As part of this pioneering work, we are gathering people from all over the world to worship together, grow in our faith, and inspire hope through an uplifting message. We are dedicated to reaching out with God's message of hope and love to all without discrimination or judgment. We invite you to join our House of Destiny free membership that allows you to connect with members from around the world. Through our prayer wall, you can post your requests and have others join us in prayer. It's so powerful when the saints gather and believe for a breakthrough. We invite you to join today. Simply click the online church login and sign up. Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. We are here for you, and we have worked hard to provide the resources and tools to help you grow in your faith. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Trump shall become a trumpet, says the Lord.
Be a praying president, not a religious one. But I will fool the people, says the Lord. God says, I will put at your helm for 2 terms a president that will pray, but he will not be a praying president when he starts. I will put him in office, and then I will baptize him with the Holy Spirit and my power, says the Lord.
The Spirit of the Lord says there shall be one assassination attempt that shall endeavor to destroy the plans that I have for this nation. Look to your vice president.
But California, I'm looking at you. Gold, Stone, California. God says, once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray, for the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Hear me. I have found a man after my own heart, and he is amongst you. He is one of the brothers but singled out for presidency of the United States of America. Strange July, hypnotic November, and oh Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. My will shall be done. And in the fall will show you whom I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David, says the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord.
What's new at the House of Destiny Network? You see, I want to tell you something. We think there's nothing greater than people being healed. We think that God could do nothing greater than people falling over in the Spirit. We think that God can do nothing greater than preaching to 3,000. We think that God has done his very, very best by our charismatic cartoonery and by our flipping around and by our jumping up and down and our dancing around. We think that God has done all that he can do. But I want to tell you something. God has so much more. He has much, much more than what you've seen and what you've ever dreamed about.
So the battle is the Lord's really means your faith is going to have to be active.
Right.
You're probably going to have to do a lot more listening than talking, which sucks for some of us.
Right.
Not a fan, but have to do it. And it really, it just, I think so much of it comes back down to faith. In 2014, he prophesied, "Do you really believe after thousands of years that you can remove my people and my spirit from the earth?" These are not just political statements, they're spiritual battles. We must see this for what it is, a war against God's covenant. And that is what we are facing right now. This is a war against the covenant of God. This person who was born and raised in America, running around shouting "Free Palestine," you know, and that's the thing that I've been saying and I won't stop saying. How does shooting two Jews outside of a museum free anybody? How does gang raping a little Jewish girl in London free anybody? How does murdering Jewish babies free anybody?
It's the spirit that gives life, and it's the flesh that profits nothing, zero. The words that I speak to you are spirit. So now it's coming down to, you know, if we want the life that comes from God, Jesus says it's the words that I speak to you that are spirit and that are life.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Code Breakers Live. It's a lovely Sunday today. Beautiful weather where I am. I'm looking over. We've actually now moved. We've added another screen over here to my left, so I'm not squinting into one screen to see your comments. If you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm reading your comments. So I'm seeing on, where are we here? YouTube, Michigan, Columbus, Ohio, Florida. Thank you, Governor DeSantis. No more chemtrails. Louisiana, New York City. Over in Rumble, we've got Texas, Ireland. Wow. And also the House of Destiny chat. And those of you watching from our website, we're so happy that you're here. Fort Mill, South Carolina, Rock Hill, South Carolina. And then, of course, we've got X as well is open. Trump's birthday, Flag Day. Jersey, Illinois, Arizona, Maryland, Franklin, Indiana, Branson, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Indiana more. Oh my gosh, it's going so fast. Alabama, Valley Forge, Franklin, Tennessee, Montana, Nashville, Tennessee, Smyrna. That's not far from me, you guys. Sedona, Arizona, Boulder County, Colorado, New York, more Arizona, Omaha, Nebraska, more Tennessee, Cape Town. Welcome to Cape Town. Paris, Tennessee, also not far from me. That's in Rumble. Las Vegas, Buffalo, New York, Montana, San Diego, California, Gulf Shores, Alabama, Ohio, North Carolina, Utah, Oklahoma. Oh, my goodness gracious. More South Africa. Oh, welcome to my South African friends. You know what? Since we did that broadcast on South Africa last week, I've really been sort of missing. I haven't been to South Africa in a long time, not since I was 18 years old. And I watched a video on Durban, which is where I was born. And it made me sad to see the beachfront. And the person that was narrating the documentary on the area, Shlonga is how you say it. And I can't remember how you said it. I'm hungry. They pronounced it wrong in the thing. And that's the difficulty with trying to pronounce things in South Africa. But before we start today, I have got my my little sister Shushu here. Shushu, come around. She wanted to say hi to you guys today, and she's already been to church.
Hi.
Stay. You must speak into the mic so they can
Hi.
hear you. So this is Shushu, and I'll give the mic back. But remember, they can't hear you when you talk. So, okay. So Shushu, my mom and dad, many years ago, while they were helping a lot of kids in China when they had the one-child law in China, our ministry was raising money to help some of the orphans who had been abandoned, especially special needs children who didn't have parents, to get surgeries that they needed, life-saving surgeries. And so it was something my mom and dad were very passionate about. And through the course of that, adopted 5 brothers and sisters for me. And so Shushu was the last adopted, but she's not the youngest. Who's the youngest? Kimby. Kimby's younger. I'll never forget the day that mom brought you home. And my father was already sick at the time. He'd had the stroke, and he was so determined to go with my mother to get Shushu that he was practicing. He'd had one stroke and he'd lost the ability to use his right side, but he was beginning to be rehabilitated and could walk a little bit with a cane. So he was trying to get up, practice, getting onto an airplane and off of an airplane and all that. And then on Thanksgiving Day in 2015, he had another stroke, so he was not able to go with my mom to get Shushu. But Shushu had a lot to do with taking care of Dad from the time she arrived, and she had a very special bond with him. And so Shushu, you have, aside from us 5 older brothers and sisters, you also have 1 brother and 3 sisters that were also adopted like you. And come forward, and you can use the mic, and then we'll see what people are saying. Everyone's saying, see everyone, hi Shushu, hi Shushu. And Shushu actually means beautiful in Chinese, doesn't it? Now, when I first met Shushu, she could not speak English, but now you can't speak Chinese anymore, huh? Have you forgotten, or do you remember some stuff?
I have some words, but not all words, because I
Really?
use Duolingo, and it's a type of app.
Oh, you do? So do
Yeah.
you remember when you use it?
Well, I have been using it, but sometimes I stop, and then I go back, and then I stop again.
Well, that's normal. And so I know Mia went to get her echo done the other day, and they're having to increase her medications and change a few things. So Mia is now, how old's Mia?
16, and she has her driver's license.
Yeah, Mia's 16. Now, a lot of you who remember, when a lot of you already know this story, and you remember when it was Mia and Shelly Ann were the first 2 that were adopted, and Mia was only 2 years old. Mia is now 16, and mom took her for an echo the other day. And so we do need some prayer for Mia right now, because they're needing to change some medications and increase some medications. She has a what's it called? A site, but it's the medicine is automatically put into her arm at specific times throughout the day. And that's because she has pulmonary hypertension. And that is because when she was born, she was supposed to have an open heart surgery right away, which she did not get till she was 2. And so that the damage from her heart, not from her not getting the heart surgery when she was in the orphanage, when she was born even, caused pulmonary hypertension. So she has some issues. She is really good at doing nails, isn't she?
Yeah.
Has she done your nails yet? She still hasn't done yours. She better do yours. She did my daughter's nails, and my little girl is in the same grade as Shushu. So I had my daughter around the same time that Shushu was born. And then, so they've all grown up together. And also Matt, who is the oldest, Matt is 18 now. He had to have some surgery done as well. How long ago was that now? 6 months?
Yeah.
about 6 months ago. And Matt has a condition where the side of his face, the cells it's not cancer. It's a genetic disorder where the cells continue to regenerate. So it grows. So they have to constantly do surgeries to cut that back. Does he still have the trach? He still has the trach. But Matt is just a grown man. I saw him the other day walking by. I couldn't believe how grown he is. His hair is long as mine. And he really helps my mom out a lot. With the animals and stuff here in Tennessee at the house. And then Shelly Ann's doing all right, as well as Kimby. Kimby stays on a lot of medications for her heart. And if my mother was here, she could just rattle off to you exactly the names of all the stuff, but I can never keep up with it or remember, right? And so is there anything special you want to say to everybody today?
I don't know.
Just hello. Did you just want to say hi?
Sure.
Well, I'm glad you joined me today, Shushu. Now, if you want to sit over there, if you think of anything, feel free to come back.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So I just wanted you guys to see her. She actually asked if she could come and just say hi to you guys today. So I said, for sure she can. We love it when Shushu joins us. And I see so many of you praying now for them. And yes, it's Xiu. Xiu is how you spell it. You pronounce it Shushu, but it's her name is Caitlin.
That's my U.S. name.
That's her U.S. name, but her name, in China was Shushu, and I guess it's kind of a nickname, isn't it?
Mhm.
Kind of like Deluxe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the same thing, but Shushu means beautiful in Chinese, and she is definitely beautiful, and spends a lot of time at my house with my daughter. She was with them this morning. They went to church together and everything, and yes, so please do pray for Mia. It gets difficult for her. If she's too active, she'll get out of breath. She has an oxygen issue because of the pulmonary hypertension. And so my mom spends all of her time taking care of them. And that's why you guys see a lot less of her nowadays than you used to. It's because she really has devoted her time to taking care of all 5 adopted children. And then, of course, she had 5 natural children, which we're all grown now, but we're all here together as a family, and we all take care of each other. And it's we're doing okay. We miss my dad for sure. So that was the one thing. There's a couple of things that we're going to cover today. You saw the title of that we used for the broadcast today, and that is Something's Weird. I don't know. There's so many weird things I'm seeing. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I've been feeling a little bit, I don't know what it is, just unsettled. So I've really been praying about it. It's very difficult when you get on social media to discern what is true, what is being hyped up, what is a complete lie, who is with us and who's not. What are some of these decisions that Trump has been making? I know some people are weirded out, and I do encourage people to give them a minute, because we're really early in the presidency. I know a lot of people, I was seeing this morning, people being disappointed about what happened with the Social Security and things like that. But, I would definitely just give them a little grace and wait. Although I am a little bit weirded out about, excuse me, about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Whenever I see them, they look terrified. Now, again, I believe we should give them some grace, because they haven't been there long. And you're talking about an entire FBI that's been compromised. We don't know what's going on. It was a little strange about the Epstein suicide thing. Like, it wasn't so much what they were saying, but I think the reaction, right? I'm looking at your comments as I'm talking just to make sure I don't miss anything important. But the Social Security, apparently I don't even know. See, this is the thing, is like you'll read something, you'll hear something, and then you'll find out later it's been misrepresented or it's not true, or so this is kind of been a thing. But there's something else. Okay, I don't know. Did you guys see Trump posting that Biden? I need to pull up my X page. Let's go, Lou. Let's pull it up. Let's get this mouse situated over here. Replace?
No.
No? Okay, I'll let you do it. What's this? Oh, okay, that is, okay, good.
And you just scroll on that side.
Okay, got it. Great, thank you. Lou's kind of redone the setup. You guys see me looking over here. But if now I don't need my granny glasses to read your comments. I see you guys talking about the strange July. I had, really felt like it was last year. I also don't want to, with these prophecies, what you don't want to do is, and look, I'm open, obviously, because I've certainly been wrong. But it really, it did line up pretty perfectly, the strange July last year. So I don't want to be, pulling up old prophecies that might have been fulfilled. And this is where we are in the time period now, is even when I did analysis a couple of weeks ago with Doobie, I was concerned about a Syria-Iran prophecy my dad had given. And as soon as I brought it up on the broadcast to Doobie, he said it straight right away. Like, that was fulfilled. This is how it happened. You guys, if you go back 2 weeks on analysis, which is the show we do on Wednesdays, House of Destiny, it'll be on where this is right now. So wherever you're watching me from, you can go back a couple weeks and watch on analysis with me and Doobie. And that summary, I should have actually pulled that to show you guys today. It was excellent. And that was fulfilled. So we don't want to keep bringing up prophecies that might have already been fulfilled and then like trying to project them. I feel responsible for those. So I'm very careful. And again, I could be wrong. But yeah, Trump basically said, thank you, I can't read your name, on Rumble, that Biden died in 2020. Let's look at that post. Okay, so I'm here on my, I don't know, Shu. I don't know. Let me just scroll. Let me figure out where I want to talk a little bit about cloning today. But before I do that, there's actually something I wanted to bring up now that I have my page open. And that is that today is the funeral of my, technically my nephew as well, but my husband's nephew passed away. And many of you saw that on X. Very young, at 22. He passed away last week. And today is the funeral. And they had a GoFundMe up that so many of you gave towards. And I just want to thank all of you for responding to that. It was very sudden. And my husband is really, really sad. In this post here that I have up, I don't know how well you guys can read it. His name was Caleb, and his mother was Crystal, who was my husband's sister. And, there was a difficulty paying for her funeral at the time. And my mom and dad contributed, as well as their uncle went in there to the funeral home and was able to talk to the funeral home people and get them to bring the price down. So there was a struggle and this is now more than 10 years ago, maybe longer. Gosh, I don't even know how much time has passed. But there is definitely a lot of you noticed that there's a generational curse, and a lot of it has to do with that region. But it's been a very sad week, especially for my husband, because his sister was only 35. She was, it's the same funeral home that their mother was in. Their mother died at 38. She died at 35. there's a lot of parallels. And so now Caleb dying at 22 has just been a very sudden and tragic. And so I just want to thank all of you who have responded, and anybody who might be able to contribute. I'm going to scroll down because I actually have a picture to that GoFundMe. There's a direct link in here. You can see some of the paintings John did of Jesus, and I'll bring that back up again. But it has been a bit of a difficult week, and so I just wanted to share that GoFundMe with you. And maybe Lou, here it is. I don't know, Lou, if you could put that in the chat and maybe post it on the other socials, because I've been posting it on X, but I know a lot of you aren't all on X. There's a picture of him. And so I, number one, just wanted to thank all of you who have contributed toward the funeral expenses and for his family. And if you would like to, the information is right here on my X page. And then Lou will put it in the description as well as in the comments. Maybe even my sister Jacqueline can also do that, so that you guys, if you want to, if you can, help them to pay for the funeral, but also if you can't, just pray for the family, because it's been rough. Now I'm going to scroll down some more, because I think I might need, I'm not sure if I want to start from the top or the bottom. I've been having a look at some of this cloning stuff, and I don't know, I just didn't think about it too much. And I have to say that my opinion of the cloning, here's a good picture of Caleb. And so this is my husband's nephew Caleb, his sister's son, gone at 22. And both of his parents died when he was very young. His father also was killed. He fell off an oil rig. And I remember it was just tragic. And they had 3 children. So Caleb has 2 siblings that are grieving him. And he was raised by his grandparents on his father's side. And they also both had passed away. Oh, here we go. I'll show you guys this too while we're here. So many of you have gotten one of these prints of the painting that my husband did of Jesus. And this, right next to it, you can see is the image that was AI generated based on the Shroud of Turin, which they've now been able to verify is 2,000 years old. So it could actually be accurate. And this is the image that it generated, which inspired my husband to do his own sketch and drawing of Jesus, which then he posted it and got a huge response. So many people loved it. And so if anyone wants to get a print, he still has prints. Anyone who ordered some, we've moved over to a different printing company, because we weren't even planning anything. He just posted the picture of the painting he did, and so many people loved it and wanted it. He just said, you know what, I'm not set up to sell these. Like, this isn't a thing I do. So if you send a donation, just so I can cover the cost of printing it and shipping it. So a lot of you have, many of you have, and it's just beautiful. But that was the inspiration right there.
Wasn't there one photo on Facebook that it got like a lot of views?
Yes, it was Binka holding it up. My daughter was holding it up, a print of it that he had done, and it got over 200,000 views very, very quickly. And so we've all been busy, because he's been adding gold to some of them. So the people that wanted gold, we're doing it. So me and my sister Jacqueline and my stepson Skylar and John, we've all been adding the gold. You have to do it by hand. And he found this gold leafing that's real gold, but it's very, very thin. And so he actually puts it on himself. And so we've been helping him do it. And so that's how you can get one if you want one. It's beautiful. And I know I wore a t-shirt last week, but we're actually not set up to do the t-shirts. I wore one to see if people would be interested, and they certainly are. So we're going to try to figure out how to do T-shirts. That's all new too. So we're figuring it out. But again, because it wasn't a planned thing, it's not like a regular. It's not something the ministry's doing. Sorry, I'm just going. But you see some of the people who've gotten them, how pretty it is. I'm just scrolling here to see where I want to begin. Oh, there's more. See, look, so many people have gotten them. Look at the kids. Love it. So that it was a nice little surprise. So many people have been blessed by that, and we just love it. That you guys love it, and my husband's very, very talented artist. He, I really, a terrible thing happened to him. He had a very successful couple of businesses, and lost everything with COVID. And so it was the whole COVID thing was really hard on us and our family, particularly my home. So my husband's a very talented artist, so there's one way that he can still keep doing the art that he does. Because remember, we moved from California as well. I'm just scrolling here because I want to make sure I don't miss anything.
I'm actually glad we moved out of California.
So am I. I know. It was one thing about Mom is she's very prophetic when it comes to her and Dad were a prophetic team. Dad would get up and prophesy, but she had her part too, and she always knows when it's time to move. Like when we left South Africa and moved to Texas, when we left Texas and moved to California, and when we left California and moved to Tennessee. And it was right before COVID, and we were so grateful to be able to move. Or afterwards, we were grateful that we did move when we did, because it would have been much more difficult under COVID. My husband's business was so successful, he didn't even need to live in California anymore, so he was fine. We all moved to Tennessee together, followed my mom, and then COVID happened, and then he lost his business. And we were just grateful to be in Tennessee because it was a lot easier going through COVID here than it would have been in California. And we were in Los Angeles. It would have been terrible.
And also because of the fires.
Yeah, the fires, but more so all the COVID stuff that happened.
I don't like COVID.
So you can't see Shushu, but she's on the other side of my desk where we have a second mic, so you can hear her little voice.
Mm-hmm.
So if any of you are wondering, where is the little voice? She's sitting opposite me. We just don't have a camera. Okay, now we're going back quite far, but there was something I wanted to show you. This is right. I remember last week with the South Africa thing we did. This was just a few days after Ramaphosa met with Trump, and there they were shouting, "Shoot to kill the Boer." So they need to straighten that up in South Africa. God needs to do something, because it's just a mess. I mean, in South Africa right now, and again, the theme is corruption and communism. I told you that last week. They try to use race to pit people against each other, and there are legitimate issues with that, but they did the whole DEI thing over there a long time ago, and it's not a good idea. Gosh, if only they could just hire people and not see them and not know what race they are or what they look like or how if you just look at a list of qualifications and then choose that would be a lot more fair. Now I'm seeing a lot of reports out of Gaza that they have let the world know Gaza's people are not Hamas, down with Hamas. Supplies were sent in and Hamas was hoarding it, and apparently a bunch of Palestinians just ran in there and just took the food, which was theirs. It was their right to do. And apparently they shot some of them. Hamas did. So that's what I'm saying is like, you don't know always what is true that you're seeing on social media. This has been a big problem I've noticed. And there's a lot of nonsense that goes on. Okay, now here, you'll see this post here. We covered this on Wednesday at Analysis, but I just want to remind everybody, and I've been telling you guys this whole time, there's an issue with Putin. And obviously we know that, but here Trump is actually noticing. And this is what we covered this past Wednesday on Analysis. So you should go, if you're interested, go back and watch this past Wednesday on Analysis, because we played one of the prophecies. Now, I will be posting on my YouTube channel all of the Putin prophecies. I'm busy editing it right now, and I'm just anything Putin, I'm just putting back to back to back so that you can have a look at a video like that and just watch it all. And I'm going to post that, and as soon as I have, I will let you guys know. So you can follow me on X, and then if you're on other social media, Lou will let you know. This was interesting to me. In Iran, here's Iranians running around knocking the turbans off of Islamic regime clerics. Now, I'm interested in this because my dad saw that the people of Iran would rise up against the regime. And you have to remember, too, when Dad would prophesy about these different countries, he's particularly addressing the leadership, corruption in leadership. And there definitely is an Islamic problem right now. He prophesied the Fourth Reich. And just last night, we were seeing images coming out of France, and they were saying, "Oh, well, they're just celebrating because of the football game, which is soccer over there." But apparently, that is not true. Rioting began before the game even began. It was an excuse, and it does appear to be. And again, it's very difficult to see what's going on. Because there's a lot of disinformation that floats around, and that's a part of free speech, and we want to know this stuff. I found this interesting, seeing Kristi Noem praying at the wall, and I just remember my dad praying. I went to the wall and prayed, and I remember my dad praying at the wall, and you remember he prophesied the Esther cartels will be afraid of a woman. Now, the only way a cartel, she's in the position, she has big, beautiful eyes, like he saw. And just that image of her praying at the wall makes me think about that. But now I'm very cautious about the Esther prophecy. You guys know that. Oh, Lordy, I've got myself in trouble. Some of you get real mad at me when I try to say who the Esther is. So I don't know. And I'm not saying, and I may never say. You guys just have to figure it out, because I'm tired of getting into trouble. I'm tired of being wrong, too. I thought it was Amy Coney Barrett years ago, and I was way wrong about that. So I've learned a lot about prophecy, and it, you know, if you remember when Roger Teal prophesied over me, he said, God says, you're in a rush, and I will stop you. I will shut you down. And so I feel like that may be a little bit of what this is sometimes I might be in a little bit of a rush because I get excited about the prophecies and I think, is it fulfilled? But I really need to, I'm responsible here, and I can't just go throwing things out there. And so I've learned over the years, you guys have been on this journey with me, many of you. There's some prophetic rewind. Now, what we've been doing on Prophetic Rewind is playing just in date order what we have. And that's thanks to our vault partners. You guys who are partnering with us and contributing to the Prophecy Vault, you have access to all that stuff in the vault. But also we started this partnership program so that we could fund digitizing the 40 years of footage we have of my dad. And so you are now, because of your support, we are now able to release these. So what we've done with Prophetic Rewind this year is we've gone all the way back, and we started in like 94, I think. And we're now in 1997. And this is the most recent one. This was this past Monday. Tomorrow there's going to be the next date that we have footage of, which will be, I think, in 1997. Lou's going to have to let me know because he's kind of managing that now. Yes, I'm hearing a big yes. So we're still in 1997 tomorrow, so you don't want to miss that. This is really, let's play a little bit of it.
And when he brings out his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him. How do they follow him? Because they see his staff, because they recognize his robe, because they know his face or the texture of his hair. Now, my friend, they only know because of the sound of his voice. And I want you to understand this, because most people, if you ask them, how do you recognize somebody, they will tell you by sight. But the easiest and the only way to recognize somebody is by their voice. You can be in a crowd with people, and you cannot see anybody because of the multitudes, and you will hear somebody's voice and say, hey, I know who that is, by their voice.
Yeah, he's talking about God. So there's some just incredible teachings on the prophetic and understanding who my dad was, how he did what he did, and how it is biblical, and how it is for you as well. Like, you may not be in the office of the prophet prophesying like my dad, but you can still recognize God's voice. And many of you do. You don't need me to tell you that. You already know. Because, the goal is to have that communion with God where you're talking to him and listening to him. And the listening part is very, very important. I'm very guilty of, oh, please help me, Lord, God, help me. And that's fine. That's fine to do that. But you also have to have in your prayer time, you want to worship him. You want to be grateful. You want to thank him for everything he's given you, for protecting you, for guiding you. And then you want to listen. And you can ask. You can ask. How many times I've asked and I've been given an answer. And I don't always understand it right away, but I eventually do. And there's been times we were in a drought in California. This is many years ago when we lived there. And it had been a drought, and it was so hot. And I had been praying, and I was so uncomfortable. And I said, God, please just send some rain. And immediately thunder struck, and it just dumped down rain. And I was so shocked. So you never know when those things can happen. And I know you guys some of you watched when I was interviewing Gene Ho, and we were talking about JFK Jr. And there's the conspiracy that he's alive, that he faked his own death. And I, of course, have no idea. But it had become kind of a thing. People were messaging me and going, and there was an argument. So I went and sat in my dad's chair that he used to pray in his prayer garden. I have it now in my garden. And I went and sat in that chair, and I said, God, show me. And all he showed me was as if it was such an insane experience. I was somewhere very, very green with hills. And there was like a body of water, like maybe a lake, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was
Pond?
No, it was bigger. It was like a lake.
Mhm.
And then there were hills, very, very green. And there was a mist. And the mist was touching my face. And when I was interviewing Gene Ho and told him that, he said, he reminded me of my dad's prophecy about, he was prophesying, I thought about Trump, and he was saying about this leader, and he's amongst you. And I couldn't see his face because that was not allowed, because there was a mist that covered all the people, and he was amongst them. That's a quote. That was the prophecy. So that was an incredible moment Gene Ho and I had last year, and that all happened because I went and I asked God to show me something, and he showed me that, and I didn't understand it. And then Gene, when I told him, reminded me of what my dad had prophesied. It's incredible the way that stuff works. And none of it is coincidence, and none of it is anything any of us could possibly orchestrate, including my dad, my dad died 10 years ago, 9 years ago. And so, it's very, very interesting. So understanding prophecy, when you can get that input, not only from us, like people who were around it, but actually from my dad. School of the Prophets is in the Prophecy Vault. And I'm just reading your comments here and getting distracted. Someone really thinks this is the stranger light. Look, you could be right. I won't argue too much on that one. I really feel like it was last year during the election, but I could be wrong. There could be things I've missed. That's why we do the show, because I have you guys to help me, because I've only got one brain. and I don't know everything. Yeah, Putin's misbehaving. And again, have a look. If you don't follow my YouTube channel, because you can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I just have my own one, and it's very like erratic. Like I just post stuff most of the time to help me here, so that I can quickly access prophecies. But I also do sometimes will put together something and post up there so that you guys can easily share it. But without it interfering too much with what we do here at the ministry as well. So I don't do too much on there. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what to do with that channel. But I will be in the next day or two. I've actually almost got it ready. I've been working on it. Everything my dad prophesied about Putin, not good. And so he's mad. And that doesn't mean Zelensky good either. Just so you know, I think Zelensky's a complete puppet of the globalists. And there's a lot more going on. Okay, so here's where we get to the interesting stuff now.
Binka, usually when we go, we read the Bible like every night, and me and Binka and Skylar pray, and sometimes Binka always prays this like method. She always prays like Felicity, Putin, the demons, and the devil, and Joe Biden and Kalama.
And Joe Biden
and Kalama will stop, and the demons and the devil will stop. And then she pray, and then in Jesus' name, amen. Like that's what she does.
Here we go. Here's a good post on about Zelensky that I thought summed it up pretty well. No, MAGA is not suddenly pro-Zelensky because Trump is disappointed in Putin. MAGA was never pro-Putin. They were always pro-peace. Most of us have been anti-Zelensky because Zelensky is a grifting cocaine addict who's facilitating a money laundering operation. So two things can be true at the same time. Like people are so, and I include myself in this. We tend to, okay, we got to pick a side on things, but it's never that cut and dry in real life, ever, ever, ever. And when my dad went to Ukraine and prophesied to Ukraine, it was to the Ukrainian people, specifically the Ukrainian Christians. And he was seeing something bad happening in Ukraine. And we're beginning to see that as well as Trump is trying to negotiate a peace deal. I don't know if you heard Trump yesterday or the day before. He was saying how it's difficult dealing with both of them. They're both very stubborn, Zelensky and Putin. And there's a lot of corruption going on. And I think who's in control of the globe? There's a battle going on there that we're not actually seeing outright, but you can start to see the whispers of it. There's the globalist agenda, but who's going to be in control of that? I think a lot of that is what we're seeing. So I thought that was a good summary there. MAGA is not a cult. So yes, we know how to think for ourselves and discern. And so what we pray for the citizens of all of these countries affected, because they, just like we have a lot more control in the United States of America, even than Europe anymore. As far as voting, but even we are very limited. Think of when Biden was the president. Did he represent how you feel, how you think? Did he represent you well to the world? What you wanted, how you want? No. And, we saw what happened in the 2020 election. Now, where's the post? Let's find it. I'm going to scroll. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make anybody dizzy. But I'm posting these things as I
Do you know Kai Trump?
Through. Yes, that's Donald Trump's granddaughter. That's.
I sometimes, if I get bored, I watch her.
Oh, you do? She's very pretty.
Yeah.
She's a sweet girl. Here's more Hamas. Set up checkpoints to block Palestinians from reaching the new aid distribution center, and they were swearing. I won't repeat that, but they went to get the food. So that's also very interesting. I'm not going to click it because I don't know if we're going to. I'm seeing your comment there, all in caps, shouting about Putin is saving the children. Look, I cannot ignore how accurate my dad was. He prophesied Trump would be a trumpet. He prophesied the impeachments. He prophesied the 2 terms from Maricopa County. He prophesied, he prophesied a moment where Clay Clark and Donald Trump would sit down together and watch him. I mean, the accuracy of my dad, abortion, and what would happen. So going all the way back to 9/11, my dad's been prophesying very accurately. His track record is incredible. How can I ignore his nonstop warnings about Putin? And could it be possible that you are being fed propaganda by a KGB agent who's very good because he got himself into control of that country? Is it possible that both Zelensky and Putin are bad guys and that the citizens of their countries are suffering? That you have been fed that, which is not true. Well, maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my dad was right about everything except Putin. I don't know. I guess we're going to see. But what I do know is that Putin is viciously bombing civilians in Ukraine right now, when he's supposed to be doing a ceasefire. And even Trump is now expressing extreme frustration. And so a lot of innocent people are dying. And you may say, oh, there's Nazis in Ukraine. Well, there's Nazis in America and there's Nazis in Europe. Does that mean that innocent people need to die? I mean, really, I can't ignore that. I can't, because of a narrative that's been fed to some people that they've just bought. I'm not just buying it. And I don't believe that Putin is acting in the best interest of the West. I don't believe that. And I am going to stand strong on that. My dad prophesied so accurately everything, and then you just missed it on Putin. When God sent him to Ukraine before any of this happened, he'd never been to Ukraine before. I'd never even heard him say anything about Ukraine. Suddenly God sends him to Ukraine, and he's saying, out of the ashes will come beauty, out of the sadness will come joy. And of Ukraine, he prophesied that we would say that Ukraine, hey, but they're the troublemakers. Isn't that what we're saying right now? So there are things that we don't know. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. There's things we don't know. And I'm asking you not to just blindly believe Vladimir Putin, because his interests are not for the West. I just saw him the other day making a speech where he's talking about putting the West in a chokehold. And maybe it was provoked, absolutely was provoked, some of it by our own politicians. I've brought you that information myself, that are working with the World Economic Forum and all that. Yeah. But why does that make it okay for Putin to bomb, like viciously bomb 5,000 or more a week Ukrainians? Because he's sticking up for the Christians, is he? Because I have a prophecy from my dad, and this is going back many years. So my dad wasn't involved in a way that it was his opinion. He very specifically said, the hand of Russia will reach to America. You cannot trust it. And not to mention the Gog and Magog stuff. So I'm sorry, but I have to be honest with you. I can't, because a narrative sounds interesting, or you're hearing Putin say sticking up for the Christians and Zelensky's not. You're not in Ukraine and you're not in Russia. What I am relying on is what I've always relied on. That's what my job is here, is my dad's prophecies. He said that Putin would be released and he would be like a junkyard dog who would bite viciously. That he would turn around and go back where he came from eventually, and he would die by the sword in his own land, and that the many webs that he has woven would take a servant's broom to sweep them away. So this is the position that I'm in, and I'm just being honest with you. Like, I don't trust Zelensky. I don't trust those American politicians that went over there. I do not trust them. They were poking the bear, okay? And I do understand the dynamics of that. But it's never just one side and the other side. That's very primitive tribal thinking that we have to get out of, because that is what's causing a lot of division, not only in this nation, but between Christians. It's causing a lot of division. And that is exactly what the devil wants. So we don't know what's going on. So we pray for all of these leaders. If you see Putin holding a puppy, then you think, oh, Putin's so nice, he's so great. You need to think again. Just at least ask yourself the question. Because I did. It has been a real struggle for me because I heard the same thing you did about Putin, and it was such a conflict. But I know what was prophesied. What am I supposed to do? Just ignore that? So my dad got everything else right, and just Putin. That stuff's wrong because it fits some conspiracy. Because what I'm seeing is Donald Trump himself getting up and saying, Putin's gone crazy. Then I'm hearing my dad's prophecy. He'll be released like a junkyard dog and will bite viciously. Is this it? Okay, here we go. Here's one of them. I mean,
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to make declaration to the nations of the earth. Now hear me out.
Russia's never been our enemy.
The Spirit of the God says, Putin, I speak to you now. King Putin, you call yourself. Do you really believe that I raised up a king in the 80s by the name of Ronald Reagan to pull down a curtain and to destroy a wall that divided for nothing? Did you really think I did that in vain for you to stand and raise a wall and a curtain again? No, no. Putin, get out of my way. Get out of my way, says the Lord.
Okay, so I can't ignore that. That's just one. I'm going to post it. I'll make sure I do it like either tonight or tomorrow. I'll post it again. And you can go watch analysis on Wednesday, and you can just tell me what you think. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I mean, I can't ignore it. I can't. What do you want me to do? Just hide those prophecies away because it's not convenient to the narrative? I can't do that. I have to be honest with you. I had to when Biden was president and my dad had prophesied 2 terms for Trump. And it's not about having faith in my dad. It's because I witnessed what God did through my dad his whole life. And I knew it was authentic because I was behind the scenes. I was right there in the middle of all of it. And I knew. And I knew what I witnessed. So I can't just ignore all of that and say, oh, well, Dad might have got Putin wrong. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Dad didn't see anything about Zelensky. But when he was in Ukraine, they were telling him about child trafficking that was going on. We have that footage up. You can go through our YouTube channel, and I think we did it on Prophetic Rewind last year. You can go, or if you're a Vault member, you can go in there and look at that. He was there with Christian Ukrainians, spirit-filled, prophesying, worshiping God Christians. So you can't judge an entire nation of people based on, oh, well, they have, there's some Nazis. Well, there's Nazis here. There's Nazis. It's such a stupid thing. Anybody who's still a Nazi in this day and age who goes by that, you're an idiot. Stop. What is wrong with you if you're a Nazi? Like, what is that? Would you think there's some, I'm getting distracted from what I wanted to talk about. I'm just so frustrated because everybody keeps shouting at me, Putin's on our side. Putin is saving the children. Putin is not. He's bombing innocent civilians right now, viciously, biting viciously like a junkyard dog, just exactly as my dad prophesied. And I will not ignore it. I traveled through this country on the Reawaken America tour for 2 years, saying 2 terms for Trump. I did that by faith, not faith in my father, but faith in God. Because I could see what my dad had seen. I couldn't ignore it. And I am in that position again. And I have had to argue with my own friends over this. People believe Putin is the good guy. He's not. Putin cares about his aims in Russia, and he doesn't care who he kills. And you are witnessing it, and you can believe what you want to believe. You can shout at me. You can do whatever you want. But I wanted to talk about the Biden thing. Because this is something that doesn't involve my dad's prophecies, but it like I wasn't someone who believed in the whole cloning thing. And then people started sending me this information. And then Trump posts this about Biden I've got to find that post first. This is what I was actually looking for. I can't argue with you guys about Putin. Just think what you want. You'll see. Just like the 2 terms for Trump, I had to just say to people, you'll see. Here's Zelensky wanting Americans to go. I'm against that too. I don't like Zelensky. I don't trust Zelensky. He is a puppet of the globalists, and that's starting to fall apart now. And Trump is in the middle of having to deal with this, and he had nothing. That war would never have started under Trump. I believe him. So look deeper. Don't just trust what you're seeing. Don't just trust me. Go look. Pray. You know what? Forget about it. Pray and ask God to reveal it to you himself. That's how I deal with it. Here's Bongino looking terrified. This is concerning me. What happened to Bongino? We're going to skip over here a little bit. What happened to Bongino and Patel? I mean, these guys look scared. This is the thing for me. Whatever they're saying, it doesn't actually matter to me. If I said this on X the other day, and people were coming back at me, but it doesn't matter to me if Epstein killed himself. What matters to me is that they arrest the people he was trafficking children to. So he's dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail, and that's great because they're not doing it anymore. But who did they sell children to? That's what I care about. That's what I care about. And both of these guys, it wasn't that they were saying that they don't believe Epstein, or that they do believe Epstein killed himself. Either way, he's still guilty of those crimes, and people still purchased children from him and went to that island, and God knows what else they were getting up to. I've heard all kinds of things. I don't need to rehash it all here, but they look worried. And so people started to send me this, by the way, cannibalism allowed in your state. Remember when my dad on February 22nd of 2014 prophesied, the hearts of once compassionate women have cooked their own children, and their children have become food for them. Your children have become food for who were once compassionate women. That is a direct quote of my dad prophesying that. And look at this. Human meat. This is something so remember that prophecy. Pray, pray, pray. Because what have they been doing? Like, why are they pushing abortion so much? And what were they doing? Because you've got Harvard selling body parts. So this is where I pull back on Trump, and I'm not like, oh, we've got to have this happen right now. Like they're dealing with a lot down there, and I really want to give them some grace and time. Even Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who I trust Dan Bongino. I watched Dan Bongino all those years, and I don't think he doesn't seem very happy. If you saw him on that interview on Fox, I think we just passed by it on the screen, but he was actually saying it's hard. He's stuck at this desk. He misses his family, his wife, misses his show. But they also look terrified. What is it, Lou?
I find it very weird that oh gosh, her name's just Clinton. She comes on and says, we need illegals to come in here to have more children.
I know.
And I find it very weird that they're not supporting the fact that Americans should have their own children, and they're screaming abortion, abortion, abortion. But illegals can come in here, no abortion for them. They must just populate so that we don't have. I mean, what are these people? It just doesn't seem right fitting in my brain, because it's like now these people have used these abortion clinics to get these children's parts or whatever, and giving it to these
Remember
globalists.
the lady who was saying, "Oh, I'll get a Ferrari."
Yes.
From this, and she was talking about the aborted fetuses. It's so,
and it leaves a big question mark to me about these high-end people that talk about eating other people. Gaga and all of them had that whole thing. Remember, they had the person lying on the table, and they made it look like the food was part of their
it's very
body.
ritualistic, very demonic.
And they push, and how they push this abortion clinic, and it makes me question now, because now we're looking at, like you brought up, Epstein and everything like that. In my mind, it's going, now you connect the dots. Who are the ones supporting abortion the most that are in high office? Because those are the people that I have the question mark on.
Yeah, we
because
definitely have a question about Hillary.
what are they doing? It's like restock us.
How bad is
Let's
this?
bring the illegals in and let's restock our food
Well,
supply.
we know about adrenochrome. We know about
Yes.
those, and
So,
some of those are too dark for me.
I
to
just
bring up
wanted to
here,
throw that in
especially
because
in front
that's
of
been
Shu.
my little question mark. That's been my question when I heard her say that.
Well, here, this video right here. A number of you sent this video to me. Because if you remember, it's been a while since I've discussed this, but if you remember, I was saying, who are they? They, the deep state, they, the globalists, but who are they? Okay, we see Klaus Schwab or we see certain people, but it's like something's going on. Listen to this.
Farrell and I did a great 2-hour interview called Who is Mr. Global? And we went through every different hypotheses.
What do you mean? Can you define Mr. Global?
It's the committee that runs the world. So
Okay.
there's a committee at the top that makes all the big decisions. And my nickname for it is Mr. Global. So the question is, who is Mr. Global and why is Mr. Global doing what he's doing? Because when I look at a situation, I like to put myself in somebody else's shoes. Like if I was Danny and I was doing this, what would it look like from my point of view? And so I want to put myself in why is Mr. Global doing this? What's Mr. Global's point of view? So anyway, Joseph and I went through and did who is Mr. Global and why is he doing what he's doing? So we went through all the theories, but some of my favorite comments on the internet is they'll say, well, she worked at the White House and she knows, so she's not telling us. It's like, no, everybody at the White House is not sure.
Who's your best guess of who Mr. Global is?
I think you have intergenerational pools of capital, and right now they are over influenced by a cult. So so I think you have interdimensional intelligence, which is operating demonic intelligence.
Interdimensional demonic intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So this lady is a former Bush administration official and is claiming that a hidden group known as Mr. Global is secretly controlling world affairs. Now, what you heard her just say is that there are pools of generational wealth that have become heavily involved in the occult. Now, we know from the Stargate stuff, from what we learned from the FBI agent I talked to who had worked with my dad on a project that was a bunch of Christians who got together with the FBI to try to combat what they were doing in Stargate. And in Stargate, they actually conjured up a being that manifested. And this is what he was saying. So here she's saying the same kind of thing. Now, she's no connection to any of that. And there's this Mr. Global. So remember, I've asked for years, who are they? It's beginning to make an appearance. Now, I don't know if I can trust this lady. A number of you guys sent this to me to watch, and I found this very interesting. So let's watch a little bit longer. It's too long to watch the whole thing, but we'll watch a little longer.
I think this thing about good and evil is real. And I can't find it anymore. I found it once. There were in the 1930s, a British physicist got up and said, we are being manipulated, but from other dimensions by intelligent beings from other dimensions. So I think, if you study Christianity and you read the Bible, you're dealing with both divine intelligence and demonic intelligence. And I think too much of the leadership has gotten deeply involved in the occult and demonic kinds of intelligence.
And I think, and you guys, if you go to my X page, or you can just see whoever this guy is, Danny Jones, you might be able to find that interview and watch the whole thing. Very interesting. But that's sort of, and this is what makes me think of Lou. I want to play this very short prophecy clip of my dad, where he saw this figure and he got a name. And we've never, this clip is kind of a shorter version. I wish we had a longer version so there was more context. But Lou, can we play it?
Mashu Galeh. Mashu Galeh is a name that I'm hearing. Mach Ugaleh.
So that was something strange that my dad prophesied. That was 2015. He prophesied that. So not long before he got sick. So toward the end of his life, he was seeing that. He saw a group. He said they've already clothed themselves. He saw a maroon color and either a diamond or a triangle emblem on a headdress or something. And he particularly said they've already clothed themselves. A terrorist. He referred to them as a terrorist organization. And that's when he also got this Meshuggah layer name, which is very interesting. So we're watching that. I just wanted to share that with you because I found that so interesting. Here is this let me see if this is the only one I have. Trump. This is what Trump put on Truth Social. Donald Trump, I swear. There is no Joe Biden. Executed in 2020. Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see. You see me being speechless? I didn't expect that. Because I've heard about the whole clone thing, but it's so difficult to track. So I did look around a little bit last night. Let's see if I can. Isn't that cute? Let's take a little break. Told my husband to take my dog to get a modern haircut, and he brought my dog home like this. Look how cute! I just love him. Oh my goodness gracious! That is just the most. Come look here, Shushu. Look how they cut this dog. Isn't he cute? I love him. I would cuddle him. This was also interesting. You guys have a look at that. Pope Leo XIV met with the Orthodox Patriarch of Constantinople. And that was a couple days ago. And they've been meeting. So I'm interested in what is happening there. Watching this Pope. This is another interesting thing. Here are all the mosques in Germany on the left. And then on the right, where are the churches in Afghanistan? So that's a problem. It's a problem. My dad prophesied about this Muslim invasion. Do we have the France prophecy? We do actually have it. You know what? Maybe we should play that. Lou? It's a little long, so wait a second before we play it. Here's more of the Pope meeting. So this is very interesting. This meeting. Okay, here's more on the cloning stuff. I didn't expect.
Seriously, could Epstein, the cloning, the transhumanism. I think that law enforcement, if law enforcement ever took this seriously, could dig there and would find out some very interesting stuff.
What exactly is transhumanism?
Transhumanism is like combining, like being able to download someone's brain onto a computer chip. I've always thought Dolly the sheep was cloned in 1997. If you can clone a sheep, you can clone a human being. And actually, people are getting like their French bulldogs cloned for like $60,000. But it's estimated that you can clone a human being for $1.5 million. So, and I knew when Dolly got cloned, the sheep, there's got to be megalomaniac billionaires out there that are cloning themselves. There's just got to be. And that Epstein crew, I would not surprise if Juliette Bryant's ovaries were getting harvested because those sick, twisted megalomaniacs are cloning themselves.
That is this cloning thing. Now, this guy, he actually explains that they've been. I don't know if I trust this guy, though, because I went and looked on YouTube at the full interview with him, and I think he's nuts. But if you listen,
Well, actually, we just interviewed John Lear, and he was talking about being in an audience in which they were given a lecture by a guy that they thought was real and found out later he was a hologram.
It's a synthetic. A synthetics, when you touch their skin, it feels like plastic almost. That's the latest technique. The old techniques, if you guys can rent a video, the boys from Brazil, rent it, because in it gives you the exact way how our government's been making people.
Really?
Yeah,
well,
and the Soviets have a different method called...
I mean, making people meaning temporary people?
No, walking, talking ones.
Meaning through genetics? You're not talking about that?
Well, let me tell you. The movie shows it, but I'll share it with you right now.
All right.
All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body, yours.
Uh-huh.
We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just they'll act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, said they were being invaded by aliens. And the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep, too. Again, a food source. That's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden that fetus is gone. Because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows. And the original technology was given to our government by the Greys.
Okay.
Now,
so now here's my thing. What I feel that the aliens are, and I think a lot of you have realized this as well, it's not, life on other planets evolved and are much more advanced than us and have come to our... It's not that. The recurrent theme that I'm seeing here is that the aliens are not what we thought they were. And it's not as simple as just demons. Yeah, it is demons, but then there's a lot to what's going on with that. Like, if you listen to Timothy Alberino, and I was going to do some recommendations for you guys of people to follow and stuff to look at. Timothy Alberino, you guys know him? Look in the chat here to see if you guys know who Timothy Alberino is. Thank you, Demonic Spirits of the Nephilim. Now Timothy Alberino says that the Nephilim, who were created by the sons of men laying with the women of earth, and that was all that happened, Book of Enoch stuff, that the Nephilim, the giants who were created, they can't go to heaven. So their souls are cursed to wander the earth, and that's what demons are. Demonic spirits are. And so when Jesus casts out the legion of demons from the man, remember they say, why have you come? It's not the time. And that all connects back to the Book of Enoch. And at the appointed time that he would be taking care of them. So they were questioning him when he was casting them out of the man. And they were saying, why have you come? This is not the time. But they recognized who he was. So you have demons, but I don't think it's as simple as that's what aliens are. It's not. They're fallens, something like that. And they're coming not from space in a spacecraft. It's an interdimensional thing. That's why you see things coming out of the ocean and disappearing and all this. It's because it's interdimensional. And what they've done at CERN is very concerning in connection with this. And this is where that is. Oh, I'm so glad it was right there. So let's have a listen to this quickly.
And these beings that they're in communication with. So we're talking about the premier scientists on planet Earth right now who are actively engaged, according to their own words, communicating with something with a personality, in their own words, from another dimension. And that's the purpose of the collider. I mean, people need to understand, this is not science fiction. This is fact.
That's correct. What I write about in my novels,
right,
I place a storyline that is embedded with science fact. Everything that I present publicly in the books, public speaking, is all drawn from their own scientific journals and white papers. And then I'm able to see what they're doing. Not just extrapolate, but see in real time what it is they're doing. Not a future agenda, but what they're doing right now today. The imminency of what they intend to do, which is opening this gateway. And understand that the world of science in terms of particle physics also overlaps into DNA, into biology.
Yes.
There's a multifaceted, multi-level agenda at play, not just with CERN, but it's proof of concept feeder labs around the world that feed into CERN. So we are talking about change.
So that's also very, very interesting, you guys, because it's starting to line up a little bit. And if you think about like the Tower of Babel, like the deeper meaning of that, it wasn't just some building they were building up high to get up there to heaven. I really think there's more to it than that. And when you look around the world right now and you see the manifestation of evil, of the demonic, of people acting crazy, of world leaders acting crazy. I mean, we've covered a lot of this, like Aleister Crowley and the little gray. Remember, we talked about that before. What we found out about Project Stargate, just from not anything on social media, from my conversation with the FBI agent who worked with my dad on Project Morningstar, which was combating Stargate, they said, and this is from private conversations, they said that they had Project Stargate going and they had these people strapped to the chairs and doing all the weird psychic stuff, and that they opened up something. I don't know if it's a doorway, or I don't even know how to imagine this kind of thing. And that's an actual being appeared. And this was at the end of 1972, and the very next month, it was like a ritual sacrifice thing. So you heard the lady talking about the occult and how these pools of families with generational wealth have gotten too heavily involved in the occult. And then you think of the deal being made, that being appears to them at Stargate, Project Stargate psychics or whoever were there doing whatever they were doing, that a being manifests to them. And then the very next month, they pass Roe versus Wade. And it becomes like a ritualistic thing. So then now we're finding out, and we know the stuff about adrenochrome. We know all of these children are missing, the 300,000 children missing. Why would they open the border that way? Where are these children? We know the Epstein Island stuff, and that nobody is being held accountable for what happened there, aside from Epstein's dead and Ghislaine Maxwell is in a prison. And great, but who bought the children? Okay, that's what we care about. To Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, we need to see arrests. We need to see accountability for this behavior, because now it's gone into the realm of the demonic. And now we have people losing their minds. And it's really, really bad and really dangerous territory that we and the whole world are in, but especially the United States.
This collider and
so I'm a little overwhelmed. The cloning stuff, I'm really going to be looking into it more. If you guys have stuff to share with me about that, I want to hear. I want to hear what you have to, like, what do you know? Like, because we've kind of been on this journey. Like, we know, like Mr. Global, we can call it that now. Okay. We can call it Mr. Global. That's what that lady called it, but that's not one person. People are involved in the occult, famous people. What's up with the cloning? Are they replacing people? I never believed it. I never believed it that was happening, like, too much. And not that I was just like against it, like, no, that's not true. Just, if I'm being honest, it's really hard to believe. But then is it? I mean, look what we're seeing happen around us. I mean, you can't deny it. And it all starts to add up, like the transgenderism thing, and the effect that that's having on society as a whole, on the family. Like, who would want to break up the family but the devil? Who would want to break up a Christian nation but the devil? What you're watching right now is Paris, France. And we know that Europe has been, because of the migration thing happening, a lot of Middle Eastern people coming, bringing Islam into these Christian nations. There's actually another video I wanted to play you guys.
And also, AI is getting so real now.
Yeah, the AI stuff, it's very true, Shushu. It's scary. Like, look at this. Okay, this guy's in Pakistan. How long is this video? Okay, I can play. It's very short. Just read the caption.
आज फ्रांस ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਚੈलेंज ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ और 10 आइटम बम क्यों रखा ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ आइटम बम बाहर ਕੱਢੋ ਆ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢੋ आइटम बम ਨੂੰ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਉਹ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢੋ आइटम बम ऐलान जिहाद करो और सारे मर जाइए क़यामत वाले दिन हुजूर के सामने तो शर्मिंदगी नहीं होनी और जे चाहते हो दुनिया की आखिरत की इज्जत उम्मत मुस्लिमा की बका चाहते हो तो फिर इस रबीउल अव्वल में ऐलान करो कि इस्लाम गुस्ताखान रसूल के खिलाफ जिहाद का भी हुक्म देता है हम ऐलान जिहाद कर रहे हैं.
Now, this guy's in Pakistan, and you remember what my dad, just a few weeks ago, we were looking at my dad prophesying about a weapon, warning about nuclear war, seeing Pakistan and India and Russia. So that was also very concerning. I've got some more to show you on this. I thought this was hilarious. Al Gore is furious. He's blowing his hairdryer at the ice caps to stop them from regrowing. I've watched that man my whole life. I've seen him around, and he's just full of nonsense. Here's more of France. I'm going to show you that prophecy in a minute. This is what's going on there. I'm just giving you visuals because my dad warned about this from Europe. He's the Fourth Reich, the connection with Islam, all of that. I've started doing a little series called Desperate for Attention. Here's entry 4. Vegans leaving flowers in the meat section of the grocery store. It's people desperate for attention. It turns out this one is a joke. This one's not true, so I'm going to have to take that one down. I have to replace entry 3. That one is, someone did that to herself, desperate for attention. This is hilarious. I had to laugh so hard at this one. Because, like, the outfit, the hair, the music, the choreography, this was planned.
Remember that
this is not spontaneous.
Remember that time you sent something to mom and it was the children dying or something like that?
No.
Or getting bombed or something?
No, I don't.
You sent it to mom. And
I can't remember. I sent so many things to mom.
And then Deluxe got scared.
Oh, the news clip from yesterday. Yes, no, my son. It was a joke, and he didn't realize it was a joke, and it was just news that scares you, and he didn't realize it was a joke. He was worried about it. Look at what happens to these ants. I know I'm just totally gone off topic here, but I couldn't avoid drinking colored water, and then their little bums turn the color of the water. So all the ants that drink the blue, the little bottoms turn blue. I just thought that was cute. I love this too. The founding fathers only paid the senators and representatives a per diem amount when in session. Why? Because the founding fathers knew if Congress were ever to be paid salaries, which they could vote to increase themselves, then Congress would no longer be of the people, but rather above the people. They wanted those in Congress to be subject to the same economic and financial conditions as the rest of the nation based upon the laws they passed. This is a big part of the problem that we're dealing with Congress right now, where you have people like Nancy Pelosi, and we're all following her stock portfolio because she, making $200,000 a year, has managed to end up with hundreds of millions of dollars, and a lot of it has to do with investing in the stock market, which she governed the laws of that stock market so she would know where to invest. So that has to stop. They need to do term limits. They need to stop paying these. That needs to be changed. And the people the difficulty is because they're in Congress and they make the laws, they're not going to vote for their own selves to not be able to have those advantages anymore. So that is a sticky problem, but it is a real one. Here we go. So this is very interesting too, very short. Just listen.
In 32 days, we have an opportunity to prove that Muslims don't just belong in New York City, we also belong in City Hall. And I ask for your help in telling every person in your life, every person in our community, and every New Yorker that you know, that this is our chance. Because in this city, alhamdulillah, we have 1 million Muslims.
So there is a big problem with Islam. Their goal is to spread across the earth. They have been doing it a very long time. There was actually the video I'm looking for. This is it here. I think I've played this for you guys before. But this guy's talking about the Crusades. You know, everybody's going to bring up to you the Crusades they were against. No. There were 700 years of Muslims invading Christian countries viciously and violently, taking over the countries like Syria and Afghanistan and all of these countries that we identify with as Muslim countries were not. They were the Christian countries. They were the Christian countries when Europe wasn't even Christian yet. And Islam came in and invaded and took over and took over and took over. And now they're taking over the West, and the goal is to take over America. That is the goal. And if you don't convert to Islam, you're dead. And they are justified in the Quran to kill you because you're an infidel. That is a reality we have to face in the United States of America and in the West today. And my dad prophesied about this. Here's this is too long of a video, but he says, before the Crusades, Islam had invaded the Christian lands of Syria, Jordan, Egypt, Algeria, Libya, Morocco, Spain, Portugal, Turkey, and was trying to conquer Europe. And that's why the Crusades happened. And so what we have is a selective way in which history is being taught to our children, so that there is my dad prophesied about this in 2013. He said it's a self-infliction upon the soul of this nation to make us hate ourselves. And that's part of the plan, is because the goal is to convert the earth to Islam, and then the great Imam will return with Jesus as his whatever sidekick. This is what they believe. I do not believe that. So I want to play for you that prophecy. Let's do the France. Can I just click it, Lou, or you got to do it?
But Europe will be affected in the same way that Daniel was praying. There was a war in the heavens. Prince of Persia. There was a battle going on. As there is today, a war will take place. It shall be short-lived. Because as France destroyed the power of invasion from the Middle East in the 7th century, so shall it rise up and destroy the invading forces from the beast of the East. There will be a second reformation in Europe. God says, I will begin in France. All the tribes of the earth shall be affected by the sound. Christian, Jewish, Islam, Buddha, they shall hear Jesus. Jesus shall touch every tribe, every nation, every language. From the sound, from this place, it shall never end, and the battle shall be won. That word is Yeshua, 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 Jesus. But Europe will be affected.
L'Europe sera affectée.
And the same way that Daniel was praying,
et de la même façon que Daniel a prié,
there was a war in the heavens.
Il y a eu une guerre dans les lieux célestes.
Prince of Persia.
Et le prince de la Perse.
There was a battle going on.
Il y a eu une bataille qui a été.
As there is today.
Comme il y a aujourd'hui.
And France.
Et la France.
Shall join forces.
Va joindre ses forces.
With Great Britain.
Avec la Grande-Bretagne.
And some other nations.
Et avec d'autres nations.
There will be a war.
Et il y aura une guerre.
It shall be a short war.
Une guerre courte.
Hear me, please.
Écoutez-moi bien.
This war.
Cette guerre.
And I'm not talking about a spiritual war.
Et là, je ne parle pas d'une guerre spirituelle.
A war will take place.
Il y aura une guerre.
It shall be short-lived.
Une guerre très courte.
Because as France.
Parce que comme la France.
Destroyed the power
a détruit le pouvoir
of invasion
de l'envahisseur
from the Middle East
et des envahisseurs du Moyen-Orient,
in the 7th century,
dans le 7e siècle,
so shall it rise up
alors la France se lèvera
and destroy the invading forces
et elle va détruire aussi les forces qui
from
vont
the beast of the
envahir,
east,
qui viendront de l'Est,
and they will overcome
et nous allons vaincre.
an agreement
Et nous allons vaincre un accord
between Russia
entre la Russie
and Iran. So, Kim, we don't want the war. Too bad.
Ah, je ne veux pas faire la guerre, tant pis.
There shall be. Now, don't get frightened.
Il y aura, maintenant n'ayez pas peur.
We have an enemy that wants to invade.
Nous avons un ennemi qui voudrait bien envahir
Take Christ out of Europe.
afin d'enlever Christ de l'Europe.
Sitting on the front row here
Ici, dans la rangée de devant,
is a pastor from the Netherlands
nous avons ici un pasteur de la Hollande
and a pastor from England.
et un pasteur de l'Angleterre.
They represent the soil
Ils représentent le sol,
and the territories.
la terre,
God is going to pour out His Spirit.
où Dieu veut répandre de son esprit.
Germany will be included.
L'Allemagne sera inclus.
Italy.
L'Italie.
There shall be a great move of the Spirit.
Il y aura un grand mouvement de l'esprit.
It is literally the next Reformation
C'est littéralement la prochaine réforme
that will come about
qui va arriver
because of reconciliation.
à cause de la réconciliation.
And the Fourth Reich
Et la 4e Reich
shall be overcome.
sera vaincu
For the hatred for the Jewish people
car la haine contre les Juifs
and the people of Christ
contre le peuple de Dieu
is causing demonic rage.
est en train de provoquer une rage
But
démoniaque.
God,
Mais Dieu,
but God
mais Dieu
has made a declaration.
fait une déclaration,
One word
une parole,
out of the mouth of these people,
une parole qui sort de son peuple.
and the battle shall be won.
La bataille sera gagnée.
That word
Cette parole,
is Yeshua.
c'est Yeshua.
Jesus.
Jésus.
Jesus.
Jésus.
Say His name.
Dites son nom.
Say His name.
Dites son nom.
So that's something I have been watching. I've been watching that prophecy for years. And part of it because that church that you see my dad prophesying from, he sent me to that church in 2012 on a trip. You guys have heard about this trip. I found out I was pregnant for the very first time with my daughter, Magdalena, we call her Benka, on that trip. But dad sent me to Auschwitz, to the concentration camp in Poland, which I am glad I went there, but I never want to go back. Once was enough. But you notice some things he said in that prophecy. As France overcame Muslim invasion in the 7th century. Now, what you need to know is when my dad walked off of that platform, he went straight to my mother and said, "What happened in the 7th century?" He didn't even know. So that's how sort of pure that prophecy was, because he didn't actually know the dates and historically what had happened. But when he was prophesying, he said the 7th century. And the other thing is that he said that they would overcome an agreement between Russia and Iran. Now, if you look at where's the trouble today? Russia and Iran. Big problems today. So he named countries like Germany, Italy. Very important. We see who's running Italy. We like her. And so we're still in the middle of this. But I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention today. Here are things to pray about, things to look into. If you have information, please share it with me. You can follow me on X. You can email me, codebreakers@houseofdestiny.org. Lou, if you can put, there you go. With any information, because especially, it's very good if you follow me on X. I know not everybody's on there, but if you follow me on X, it's good because I'm looking at that all the time, and that's how I shared some of the videos I did today. And then one more thing I want to do today before I go is I want to recommend some stuff for you to watch. Okay, so this week I have been watching a YouTube channel, Snow and Kurt. And this couple, they're one of these van life people, and they've converted their van into they've converted their van into like a little, like it's got a kitchen and a little bed in the back, and they've got their cats, and they're driving through Africa. Now they did South America, North America, Europe, and now they were at the bottom of Spain. They put their van on a boat, and they sent it down to Morocco, and then they started driving from Morocco down the west coast of Africa. And it has been so good. I have to recommend it to you guys. How can we share how to spell it? Maybe in the chat. Can I write in the chat, Lou? I can? Okay, let me go over here. I'm going to go into, what's this one? This is YouTube. Okay. I'm going to put it in each chat. You're just going to have to search for them. They're a middle-aged American couple. She has short, gray, curly hair. They're in a van. And they're called Snow and Kurt. You guys, if you're looking for something interesting to watch, they're in the middle of this trip right now. They just got through Nigeria. And I have been watching this, on and off all week, because it has just been so interesting to me that my mother and I are both like, they're not going to make it. But driving through Africa is no joke. They drove through Mauritania. Let me tell you about Mauritania quickly. Mauritania is up there in West Africa. You know that they still have slavery? Like, people own other people. I think that I was watching a documentary on it last night. There's like up to 900,000 people in Mauritania are slaves owned by slave owners. And the women, if they have, first they get raped. And then if they have a baby, the baby is automatically property of the slave owner. Like, that's happening today. Like, not history that, no, today that's happening, which I was shocked, because I've heard that goes on in Libya and other places. But Mauritania was one of the countries they drove through, and they didn't even know this. I've been looking up some of the countries. I've been looking up all kinds of African countries ever since we did the South Africa thing last week, because I'm just looking at Africa, and found this couple driving through, which has been so interesting, because you're just like first person view of what they're doing, like as they're driving in their van, like dealing with the roads, dealing with the culture, the language barriers. And it has been so interesting. So I wanted to recommend that to you guys. And then the other one is for my lion people, the Lion Whisperer. Please follow that channel if you're interested in lions, because the Lion Whisperer, I didn't put it in the House of Destiny chat.
I'll put it.
Snow and Kurt.
Rose put the link in the House of Destiny.
Did she?
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Rose. You're awesome. Okay. Rose for House of Destiny, Rosemary Clark, you're the best, has put the link for Snow and Kurt. And X. Let's do it in X. We haven't done it there.
I did it.
What's
in
up,
X.
Lou? You did it.
I put the name.
Oh, I see you did that. Okay. The other is the Lion Whisperer on YouTube. Now, the Lion Whisperer, he rescues lions. He's got about 20 lions on a huge, massive property in South Africa. I don't know if he's actually in Botswana or if he's in South Africa. I don't know where he is. He's South African, though. And all of his lions are old lions that have been rescued, that cannot be returned to the wild or survive in the wild. And so he's given them a place to stay. And he has been accepted by the different prides. And so they all love him. And I'm so jealous. I am so jealous, because he gets to just go in and he cuddles the lions and hugs them, and they follow him, and they go on these beautiful walks, which is very like, okay, look, some of the stuff we've covered today has been pretty heavy, like cloning and demonic stuff. And so you need a break from that kind of thing sometimes. And I find animals to be very comforting. And just to see the way this guy is, like, there's the Swedish guy too. I've forgotten his name. I follow him as well. But the Lion Whisperer, I really like him. He's South African. He's doing really good work just to rescue these lions.
Is he the one with the white lion?
They both have white lions, actually.
I worked for him.
What do you mean you worked for him? What?
I worked at a production company in South Africa after I stopped working at the church. and they did a movie called The White Lion.
Yes.
It's a South African movie called The White Lion.
Yes.
I edited the behind the scenes of that movie.
No.
Yes. So
I have to watch
when
it.
you got the DVD, the behind the scenes where they talk about the filming of it,
Yes.
I did the whole edit. And I was the fourth editor to do it because the guy didn't like any way that the guys were doing the edits. I was the fourth one. And all I did is I took what the other guys did.
His name's Kevin. He's South African.
Yes.
With dark hair.
I changed it around. Yeah. And they liked it, and it went into the movie.
I didn't know you knew him, buddy.
Yeah.
I want to meet him. I want to go play with lions.
I only met him once
I
when
want
he
to kiss
when he
one.
came to.
I'm seeing these lions, and I want to kiss it.
They were so beautiful. I mean, I sat.
I don't want to get eaten either.
Weeks, looking at.
Look,
white
I'd be
lions.
happy just to go look and be on the other side of the fence. I am jealous of him though that he gets to cuddle
The
them
movie's
and
very
lay
cute,
with
though.
and kiss.
It's basically the story.
Anyway,
of the White
and
Lion
so
Cubs.
you guys have a look at that channel if you want to watch about lions. He's really good. We get to just see like not the scary part about lions.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going on and on about lions again. I'm
just before we go, because we did have Elon Musk on our thumbnail. I don't know if you want to put your little 2 cents in about the bruise on his eye.
I forgot. No, I believe him that was his
Well,
kid.
I know.
Look, I've
Before we
got
started,
kids, and anybody with kids, you guys must know that kind of thing. I don't think it's got any conspiracy, but I mean, I could be wrong. One thing though is you do need to know there's a lot of stuff going on about Musk leaving Doge. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
If he's got some frustration, especially with Congress not passing things, I don't think there's anything between him and Trump.
He's
though.
not leaving Doge. He's going to come back and visitations. Like if Trump needs him, he says he'll come back. He's going to pop in every now and then.
And what
but legally, he has to leave.
Well, no, that's what I was about to say. Is it was only ever 130 days that he was going to be doing this, and then he was supposed to leave anyway. So it's not like the media's making that out to you. And this is the thing: is weird things going on. That's another weird thing that's been going on. Is what happened? Like, is there are Trump and Musk in some kind of an argument or disagree? But I don't think so at all.
You would know. I mean, when you saw Trump and Musk in the Oval Office,
I watched them the other day.
You could see there's nothing because you know Trump. If he has a problem with you, he will.
No, they were fine, and I really
he was
wouldn't read at this point. I wouldn't read too much into that bruise on his eye.
Yeah.
Because I've had that happen to me. Deluxe has thrown a toy and hit me in the eye. I mean, those things happen when you have a kid, and you've seen his little kid. He's young.
Yeah, Trump even said, "X, he's a wild one." That one.
Yeah. So, but I mean, who knows? We don't know. I don't know them. I don't know the situation.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should worry too much about that. I'm more worried about.
New York Post.
This is what I'm worrying about. I'm worrying about Congress. I'm worried about that. Like I brought up about the salaries, the per diem is how they used to be paid. And we see Republicans and Democrats involved here. It's because they're all making money.
I'm satisfied with the Democrats.
The Democrats and the Republicans.
But he
God
said,
is not
but
satisfied.
even more with the Republicans.
Yeah.
Because they know the truth.
Right. And they're taking money. And so these people are being exposed. And this is what you guys need to remember. We're in the middle of this right now. We're not hindsight 2020. We're in the middle. And sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. And that is what we're praying for this week. We are praying not only for God to protect us, but to help us to see the truth. Reveal the truth to us. We have the benefit here at the House of Destiny of these prophecies. That is a benefit. That is a gift that God has given us. And it's not a lot of us. It's not a lot of us that know about these prophecies. I mean, I know that the prophecies of some of them have reached some people, but the group of us that get together and really study these every week, we are a remnant, and I'm just so grateful that God has given us this because it really helps. Like, for instance, the whole Putin thing. I might also be completely confused about Putin had I not known about what my dad prophesied about Putin. So, and many times over the course of the last 10 years, without having my dad here, I've really had to not only look at what he prophesied, but discern myself. And I cannot deny that. So we're starting to see the pieces coming together even more. And we could not do that without your support. And so I just want to thank everybody who has donated to our ministry, who has joined our prophecy vault, who has, who's praying for us. Look, if you can't give anything, pray for us. because that's even more important. And we pray for one another. We pray for discernment. We pray that what needs to be exposed will be exposed even more, but in God's timing. And that is what we pray for. And so, and all of us together, we're in agreement on that. And I know that we are, that we want the truth. As difficult as it is, and I think it has had to be revealed to us slowly, because some of it's very dark. Like the issue with abortion and the selling of parts and what these people are doing to children. You couldn't just come out and say that to us 10 years ago. It had to sort of slowly be unraveled to us, the truth. And so what we seek is the truth. And that's what we do here. That's what we're doing here every week. That's what we do here at the House of Destiny Network. And so I am grateful for all of you. And again, I thank you for supporting us financially and with your prayers and joining me here every week and sending me information and praying for me. Like, we're doing this together, and it is a beautiful thing that's happened. And one day we will be able to look back and be like, okay, what happened there, and this is how it went. And so I'm already working on the book, actually, about my dad. I've started to work on that again, and I'm hoping to get that done soon. And so that, a lot of you can just know the story, so I don't have to keep explaining myself too. But it's just been a little bit difficult for me because the way that all happened with my dad was very hard for me. And so to have to relive some of the stuff that I experienced, to write it in a book, that's hard. So pray for me on that too. But the story needs to be told. And so I'm working on it. So do again, if you can contribute to my husband's nephew's funeral, the GoFundMe and the information we've shared it. Lou, make sure you put it in the description and in the chats, because they really do need help just paying for that funeral. And so we've helped as much as we could, and any of you who could help, we would really appreciate it if you can. And if you can't financially, just at least with your prayers. And I've seen your prayers coming in, and we are so grateful for that as well, because this is just tragic, and the family is really suffering and grieving right now. And I know most of you watching, you understand about grief, and you understand how that is. And so I thank you for that. And we will be back. We've got a lot going on this week. We've got more Prophetic Rewind tomorrow. We've got all of our broadcasts through the week. Just every day of the week, we've got something. So make sure you come to however you watch us. You can go to the website, kimclement.com, or houseofdestiny.org. It's the same place. Or Rumble, or YouTube, or Facebook, or Instagram. I don't use Facebook and Instagram because they don't like me. But we put the stuff out there. And then, of course, X. And that's where I've been most active, as well as Truth Social, Rumble. So make sure that you just keep an eye on what we have going on. Shushu, thank you for joining me today. Come say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
And we will see you next week.
Is this still on?
It is. Lou. Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. We've also enhanced the prophecy database, meticulously updating it with new video content and profound insights. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. As part of your membership, you'll also gain access to my prophecy blog, where I break down and analyze my father's prophecies, connecting them to current events.
This blog will provide you with exclusive insights and a deeper understanding of how God's Word is unfolding right now. And we're offering something truly special. Exclusive analysis sessions available only to members of the Prophecy Vault. These sessions will go beyond the surface, providing in-depth exploration of specific prophecies and their implications for today and the future. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. So, I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you. And then by phone call. And then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.